Hey everybody, welcome to season 4 of What's IGN Crushing On. I'm Caryn Solomon and I'm your host, and we're here to talk about what's hot in pop culture. Today's episode is brought to you by Syntech. Syntech is a technology company that sources and distributes industry-leading products and brands from around the world. And we are back with episode 7. This week on the show, Leanne is back. Say hello, Leanne.
Hello, Leanne. Hi.
Oh my gosh.
It's because I missed you so much.
Like the audience is booing for that boring joke. But today's episode, we are also featuring interviews with the cast, or some of the cast, of Netflix Africa's first reality show, Young, Famous and African. I'm going to talk a bit more about that. But anyway, Leanne, what's been going on with you?
I mean, a lot. But also not a lot. I feel like work's just been doing all the things. And so, yeah, you've been busy interviewing all the famous people, having all the fun chats. It's been fun to listen as just a listener and not as someone who was present at the recording.
We've had a very wild couple of weeks. And but yeah, it's great to have you back. So this week on the show, we're featuring interviews with 3 cast members of Young, Famous and African, and I will talk a bit more what the show's about in a minute. But we have a chat with Kayleigh Schwark, Nadia, Nakai, and Zari, the boss lady. And the log line, or the synopsis of Young, Famous and African, is this glitzy reality series, aka a real-life soap opera, follows a group of young, affluent, and famous A-list media personalities, hailing from South Africa, Nigeria, and East Africa. This aspirational who's who of music, media, fashion, and Insta stars come together in JoBurg. All friends and connected, they're on a quest to find love, rekindle old flames, reboot struggling relationships as they continue to shine bright. So, the show is going to be releasing on Netflix on the 18th of March, but perks of the job, I got an opportunity to watch all the episodes already. And now I watch a lot of stuff. Y'all know that. And I'm also not I would say this about myself, even though I do enjoy reality quite a lot. I'm not the biggest reality show fan. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what it was about this, but I was hooked. Because the cast is led by the famous Caryn, for those who don't know, who's quite a popular actress. She's currently in The Wife. Season 2, but she's been around South Africa. She's been in a lot of shows and films, and I've actually always admired her acting. Like she's had some scandals in the past, but as somebody who just watches a lot of stuff, I've always thought she was a very talented actor. But this is following her real life and her real relationship and quite a few of her real friends. And I don't know if it's just the way this show was filmed, but everything felt so real. Like, some of the stuff, like some of the events that they go to, and some of this one was a little bit off last night, so I decided to have lunch. Like that seems a little bit like manufactured,
very
like when they
Real
decide to do things.
Yeah.
But like the beef they have, the conversations, it's like it literally feels like they forgot the cameras were on. And even when they're doing like the confessionals, when they're talking, like it's so like I can't even talk about how good it is. Like I just got like kind of like distracted by how like how real they were.
So the real inside scoop behind these people and their lives.
So I wanted to talk about I mentioned I mentioned the 3 people that we are talking to today, but and obviously Caryn. So the series centers around Caryn, and she walks in and she's the anchor, but she's the most brilliant choice of an anchor because
Mm.
she feels real, number one, as I said, but also like you kind of believe all the relationships she has with people. And it's not always like natural. Like when it starts out, another actor, Annie Macaulay Adibia, who is the wife of Nigerian singer Tubaba. And they're both pretty famous in Nigeria. But when she first comes to South Africa, she is introduced to the group because her best friend, Swanky Jerry, who's like a world famous stylist, like he's from Nigeria, but he's a world famous stylist. And he's friends with Nadia Nakai, who is a South African rapper, South African Zimbabwean rapper. So Nadia Nakai invites them to this ball, this event that Kanye is throwing. And initially, I think Annie's like reaction, she's like, Kanye is showing off. She's not like feeling this. But then
Mm.
you watch through, I want to say 8 episodes, or maybe it's 7, maybe it's 9. I don't have it on me right now. But you watch as their friendship and their relationship grows. And it feels natural. It's not like today they hate each other, tomorrow they're fine. Like you can see the little cracks, you can see the things that Kanye doesn't agree with, you can see the things that Annie doesn't agree with. And that's why I enjoyed it, because similarly to the Real Housewives, it felt authentic. It felt, even though this group was put together because of circumstances, because they were cast in the show, you also kind of feel like these people would hang out together. So
Mm.
so let me just go through the cast. Like as I said, so Nadia Nakai, then SATV personality Andile Kube, who is one of the single members of the group. So Nadia Nakai starts out in a relationship with Vic Mensa, the American musician, and during the course of the show, they break up and all that kind of stuff. So she's also like sort of single, but while the show is filming, she's in this relationship with Vic. And then Andile is single, and he kind of I don't want to give away spoilers, but he also kind of dates within the group. And then it's Kanye, and then Tanzanian musician Diamond Platinums, who's also like extremely famous. um he also joins the group, also as a single man, but is he single? And then it's Annie and Tubaba. And then Zari, the boss lady, who's a businesswoman, and she's Ugandan, but she is the mother of two of Diamond's children. And the two of them,
Mm-hmm.
she's his ex, and they were together for quite a while. So there's also that dynamic between, like, you can see there's still chemistry there, but they broke up because he cheated on her and all of that things very famously. And yeah, and then there's Swanky. And just, there's something Nadia says in the interview, which you guys will hear, but she talks about how so much of music and fashion, especially, has been taken from Africa, like been inspired by
Mm-hmm.
Africa. And this show kind of shows you Africans enjoying their own things and the wealth and the luxury and all of that stuff. And Africa's not just the way you see it. And Netflix ain't paying us to promote this. I'm saying this from the bottom of, like, I enjoyed it. I watched it all in one night. I was so into it. And I hope that they get another season, because I think that this
Mm.
cast is brilliant and so well chosen. And I'm sure there are other people they could have added to it, but I always worry with South African reality, if it's authentic, if it's, some of the stuff is not like, people worrying about the way that they are perceived. But
Mm.
brilliant. Oh no, wait, I didn't mention Kayleigh and her boyfriend, Naked. So Kayleigh is like a soccer player and probably like fitness person. I don't know, all soccer players are fitness people. And her boyfriend, Naked DJ, he's a DJ. But I love them. So they are one of the established couples in the group. And they're
Mm-hmm.
having problems, they're always arguing, and they are talking honestly about each other. They're like, I don't like this that he does.
Oh,
And he's
wow.
like, no, she's around too much. I never asked her to move in. Why is she always at my house? And like, I really enjoyed Naked. Like, he was probably one of my favorite characters. Just, he was just so honest. And like, when he was annoyed at something, he's like, nah, why is he doing that? And Naked and Kanye are like, have been friends for like 20 years. And the two of them, like, when they confront each other about their relationships, it's also funny. But yeah, so I know I've been rambling, but I just wanted you guys to know how much I enjoyed the show. And yeah, give it a watch. Tell us what you think. Let us know if you enjoyed it as much as me. Who's your favorite? So we're going to go into the interviews now, and all the questions will be preceded. But I just wanted to say the interview was a group interview with Kayleigh, Nadia, and Zari. So with the three women's voices, it might be confusing. So with all the questions, Kayleigh speaks first, then Nadia, and then Zari. So yeah, here's our interview with the cast of Young, Famous in Africa. We first asked them what was it like being a part of Netflix's first reality show, and what was their experience when it came to filming and acting with the other stars.
I think being part of Young, Famous and African it's really an honor. Being on a platform like Netflix is something unmatched. So filming was really exciting. It was stressful, late, long hours. But at the end of the day, I think it was really worth it. It was amazing meeting all the cast members, and just being affiliated with the show is something truly beautiful.
I think being part of the Netflix reality show on this scale is very exciting because Netflix is a global platform, it's a very credible platform, but I also think the stories that it's telling is what is needed and what is lacking globally. The fact that they are showcasing or putting a spotlight on Black African creators, well, not just Black, but I mean just African creators that are in different industries, different spheres of their life, and how successful they are and how they impact the global standpoint when it comes to music and fashion and acting and all aspects of the creative industry, I think is absolutely needed. Okay, and my experience with filming was very surprising because every time I've watched like reality shows, I always had this misconception of the fact that this is all scripted. Yeah. Everybody, it's acting, it's all fake, but it's not like that. Once the cameras were rolling, you forget that they're there to a point where you're actually like, oh my gosh, I hope I didn't say something wrong. Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't get caught out of context. Or I hope my personality came through, or the intent of what I was trying to say really got understood, portrayed. So that was like a very big learning curve for me, that there are some reality shows that are very real like this one. And interacting with the cast members, I think, was also very inspiring because some cast members only just met on the show, but they cultivated a very fruitful relationship and actually grew into something really genuine, and we learned a lot from each other. Yes, we ruffled each other's feathers here and there, but I think there's a big part of togetherness. There's a big part of Ubuntu. There's a big part of inspiring each other and inspiring other people, and real life issues that the viewer would be able to resonate with as well.
It's such an honor to be on such a platform. I mean, Netflix is Netflix, and this is us, getting a chance to showcase Africa, and not just Africa as people know it, where, people are just showing, the worlds and the feminine and all those things. So for me, it's such an honor, working with a great cast like people like them. I learned so much, sometimes, we went all out, like she said, trying to ruffle each other's feathers. But at the end of the day, we became family. We actually met people and we became family. So for me, it's a breakthrough. It's a huge breakthrough.
Was it challenging to be yourself in front of the camera?
I think it was very challenging trying to be myself in front of the camera, especially in the beginning. And then eventually you just, you realize that it's the best thing to be genuine and to be authentic and to be yourself. So, eventually you forget that the camera's there, like Nadia mentioned. So you just start being yourself. You start acting in the moment and you completely forget about your surroundings. In the beginning it was hard, but the nice thing is that it wasn't staged. Nothing was, put on. So everything was so authentic, and you just kind of had to fall into that world. Yeah.
I agree with you. I think all of us had like certain concerns about showcasing our life on this type of scale. Especially like for me, I think it's a little bit different to Kayleigh. It's like I have given nuggets of myself in my music and my creative, but not necessarily on this kind of scale where I'm talking about my family relationships and my relationship with the long distance I was in and how we interact with each other. And there will always be that concern because you forget that the cameras are there. You're worried if people are going to receive you the way that you intended. And I think this is also like a case study to a certain extent because I don't think people have been able to see my personality, and it's like, okay, do I have a personality? Is there something there? Do people really mess with it? Do they not? Do they get the type of person that I am? I really want to be able to see that stuff as well because it's hard to be introspective on yourself, about yourself, but it's not like saying I'm going to take all the critics and soak it in, but just have an idea of how they are receiving me on the show, and if it's exactly the type of person I am, or if there's a misunderstanding or misagreement or whatever the case is.
It was a bit hard. I mean, you are trying to be who you are. You're not trying to fake it. You're just trying to be who you are. And at the same time, you have things coming in from different sides, different people saying whatever. So sometimes you lose it, and then you go back, like she said, did I do that? Did I just say that right? Like, is this real? Like, we got caught in the moment because the cameras were running. But let me tell you something. This is a reality show that's not scripted, and everyone was as authentic as they could be.
We then asked them what was their favorite scene of the season.
I think my favorite moment was on the train.
Oh, I think you were going to say the therapy session.
No, that wasn't that. I don't think that was my favorite. I think it was, my biggest breakthrough in our relationship. But I don't think it was my favorite. It wasn't exciting to be in that situation. But I think the most interesting part of the show was definitely the train. We all of us, besides Nadia and Andile, we had a fallout, and it was amazing and crazy to see everybody's true persona and their true characteristics come out. So that was my favorite part. I wouldn't say favorite, but it was the highlight. It was the highlight for me. Yeah.
It's very difficult for me to say which was my favorite because I feel like my confessionals were my favorite. And it's not a scene, but it's like, it was exciting to be able to reflect on like what happened and be like, oh my God, I can't believe she did that. Why did she say that? Like, how did it go down like that? That was like so fun for me to be able to like reflect on things that happened and things that I might have missed, or but I think an actual scene that I think is not my favorite, but I think the one that might be the most misunderstood was the one with Diamond, where we went for the car shopping and Andile thought I was leading him on, but I was just trying to let him down nicely. I think I want to be able to see what people think. What people think about the whole situation. You're going to have to watch it on the 18th of March.
You're going to have to watch it on the 18th of March.
My favorite moments, I think, were the ones with Diamond, where we got into a point where we needed to speak about our relationship and how things turned out, and how we put that like in the past, and now we just want to focus on our kids and what's best for our kids. We've gone separate ways. We're not willing to make it work, but the fact that we're still together and trying to co-parenting and doing the right thing, for me, I was like, okay, we can talk about this now. That's friendship.
How did it feel putting your relationships out there on a reality series?
Well, in terms of my relationship with Quentin, it wasn't difficult to put it was difficult to put my relationship out there, but it wasn't difficult to live in our relationship and actually
live it,
and do it authentically, because it just happened so naturally. It was very difficult to show what we actually go through in our day-to-day lives, and actually understanding and seeing and hearing how he feels about me and how he truthfully feels about me. It was a bit hard to take in, but it was a great learning curve for me. In terms of relationships with the other cast members, it was simple, it was easy, it was authentic, it just came naturally. They all amazing people. Each one of them have their own beautiful side to them, which so I don't think that was difficult at all to showcase and to just be authentic in it.
Yeah, I think for me it was a big shock to the system, because I was showcasing something that was even new to me. Having a long distance relationship is something that I've never done before in my life, so I had to go through all of that to a point where we ended up breaking up on the show, which I never anticipated or expected, so by the time the wedding came, I was really emotional. I really was sad, and I was crying, and I was upset, and I was being comforted offline, and then going back to still being at Annie's wedding. But I think it's like, it's like explaining your life to somebody that knows nothing about you. And I think the one thing that each of us can take from our relationships is there will be one person in the audience that's going to resonate with every situation that each of us has. And I don't think that's something to be embarrassed of, or be scared of, or be shy of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm in this situation. It's on TV, because there's a lot of people that are in the same situation. Yeah. And I think they'll appreciate the honesty of us experiencing it on screen.
No, personally, like I said, my relationship with Diamond, we had really never gotten a chance to sit and talk like that. So at least we mended that. And the relationship with the cast, some of it worked, some of it didn't work. But I mean, I didn't expect to work out with everyone. But at the end of the day, I became so close with everyone. So it was amazing. I forget about Andy Lay and, before I forget about it.
And finally, we asked them, what can viewers expect from Young, Famous and African?
I think viewers can expect showcasing Africa in its true light. Africa is always shown in the media, and propaganda shows Africa to be, this poor
Continent.
Yeah, a poor continent where we riding on lions.
Yeah,
it's like that. I know this. Yeah,
Big safaris.
Yeah, they don't. The rest of the world doesn't see Africa like we experience it. So I think they can expect to see the real Africa and how people in Africa really live.
Yeah. I think I feel like I keep repeating myself because of all the interviews, but I think the major thing that I'm excited about is a person that's a consumer of mass market and pop culture. I see how Africa is so influential in a lot of things when it comes to music and design and just intellectual property and creativity. And I feel like it's about time that it's showcased by us on a platform like this, the way that we've done it. Yes, we're showing our personal relations of it, but we all have our backbone, what we're doing. I mean, Swanky with styling, Kanye with acting, me with my music, Kayleigh, I keep saying soccer, but it's something that you do.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And I mean, it's also such an anomaly that you are a female soccer player. I mean, that's something exciting to actually know about, and I think that's what we need to see, and that's what's going to inspire the young little Africans that are going to be watching the show, as well as the people that feel like, I should have got into this industry, but I thought there's no hope, there's no future, but there is, because I mean, all of us are able to do it, and we're inspired by that, which is really, really cool. Oh, and the boss lady.
Thank you. I think everyone, especially the cast, everyone that is on this show comes from a humble beginnings. We were talking earlier how us being Africans, we don't have, our generational wealth. So everybody has fought through, to become who they are today, and us becoming who we are today and being on TV to show people you can literally be an African child with nothing but build to be a somebody. People will be like, wow, they can do this, coming from nowhere to getting to drive Lamborghinis, there's private jets, there's, we have the glitz, the glam, and speaking about the cast and what they're doing, Swanky Jerry being one of the best, if not like one of the top, designers in the world, not just Africa, in the world. People don't get to see these things, but once they get to know, Swanky, he designs, and they look at the designs, wow, African people can do this, it's going to put a lot of us out there, and people will be like, wow, there is things really happening in Africa. So this is the show. This is the right show.
So that was our interviews with Kayleigh Schwark, Nadia Nakai, and Zari the Boss Lady from Young, Famous and African. Young, Famous and African is available to watch on Netflix worldwide from March the 18th, 2022. It would be weird if it was like 2024 or something like that. No, why I felt the need. But at least we know exactly when. No one can say
for the listeners. Caryn is very tired.
But anyway, we haven't done a crashing on in a while, so you got a nice 6 weeks, or probably like 3 weeks, to pick something that you've enjoyed watching or listening to or reading recently. So tell us, Leanne, what are you crushing on?
I mean, you would have thought with all that time I would have had I would have interesting crushes. So yeah, I think life's been busy. So I just haven't been in front of the TV much, but I finally restarted Sweet Magnolias. So I don't know. Yeah. So I tried watching this when it first came out because like Virgin River was my jam. I said to Steve, it was like my lady time show. Like that time of the month, the show just hits you differently because you just want comfort stuff. Anyway, so I tried starting Sweet Magnolias like when it first came out, and I honestly fell asleep in all 3 of the first episodes. Like, just every time I started an episode, I would fall asleep. So I was like, this is not my jam, don't like it, blah, blah, blah. But over the weekend, I started it again, and now I'm hooked. So I got to the end of season 1 yesterday, and I was
yay.
dun, dun, dun. Very excited that at least there's a season 2, and I don't have to go through that waiting period. So yeah, if cheesy, hallmarky things are your vibe, and you haven't yet checked it out, but I'm sure you are. I'm very late to the party on this one. Please do give it a watch. And then the other thing is, and I'm not sure if I've spoken about this on the podcast, but we tend to recycle sitcoms because sitcoms seem to be very rare these days. So you have to rewatch old stuff. And we started rewatching Great News, and I just remembered how good that show is. I'm so bleak. I think it ended after 1 or 2 seasons. It's produced by Tina Fey, and there's like nobody well known in it, but it's about this lady who works as a producer for a newsroom. Oh, Nicole Richie's in it, weirdly enough. So this lady works as a producer in a newsroom, and her mother becomes an intern at the office. And like it kind of follows their journey, but it's a little bit off the wall. It's a little bit wacky. It's really funny. So yeah, Great News. I would highly recommend. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah. And you, Caryn?
So I'm currently watching The Gilded Age on Mnet.
I want to watch that so badly.
It's okay.
Your face.
I was a big Edith Wharton fan. And I've read quite a few of her books. So I was quite excited because I turn of the century, like 1800s, New America. It was a weird part of me in my like early 20s where I was really into the new money versus old money stories, the Vanderbilts, like they rise to power. I don't know why I was into this. There's no connection to my life, but I was very into it. And Martin Scorsese's The Age of Innocence. And yeah, so I started watching The Gilded Age because it's something similar. Also, I'm obsessed with the soap opera that is Downton Abbey. So Julian Fellows, I was naturally going to watch this. But anyway, I even though I love Christine Baranski, this is not the best show. It's very interesting and I enjoy it, but it doesn't have that kind of hook that Downton Abbey had. I will watch it. I watch it every week and I enjoy some of the performances. Meryl Streep's daughter, Louisa Jacobson, is in it. And obviously, like Broadway legends, Donna Murphy, Audrey McDonald. Like, there's just, I can list name after name after name. The performances are very good, but I don't know. I don't know if it's just a lack of spice that the show has. But otherwise, I'm enjoying it. It hasn't done enough to turn me off. It just hasn't done enough to turn me on either, if that makes sense. So I've actually written a long review for Channel 24 if anybody wants to read about why it's incredibly mid. And it could have been better. But anyway, I also finished so I've been reading the Grishaverse books for like the last 2 years or so. That's what Shadow and Bone is by Lee Bardugo.
Based on.
And so there's 6 books in the series. 6 books? Yeah, 6 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 books. And we spoke about it a bit with Lizette a couple of, I think, 2 seasons ago when we spoke about Shadow and Bone. We spoke about the books. And that time it was only like on book 3 or 4. And now I've finished and it's just, I just love it. Like, I don't know what it is about this. I'm not the biggest fantasy, like young adult fantasy reader. Like, I can read like adult fantasy, but I'm just like, oh, this young adult things are just, too much for me. And I'm not a snob. But these books, I love her world building.
I find that
love
fascinating.
The characters.
I was just going to say I find it fascinating because I remember for the longest time, like, your favorite book was Princess Diaries.
Yeah, but that's not a fantasy book. The Princess Diaries is still absolute best. I mean fantasy more like in like the Twilight.
Yeah, that sort of genre. Okay.
I do like young adult books. I definitely love. But I generally tend to enjoy more like like the real ones, not the fantasy ones, because the fantasy one just has a little bit too melodrama. Yeah, that's the word. Fantasy, it does a bit too much melodrama for me. And there'll be an odd one I enjoy. I've read the Twilight series. It's not my favorite, but I've read it. But yeah, it's not really my speed. But oh no, love these books. Love that every book had a twist that I didn't see coming. And by maybe the third or fourth book, I started to guess what the twist was. The duologue, the Six of Crows duologue, is excellent. Like, I will give both those books 5 out of 5. But yeah, once I got to book 3 and 4, I was like, oh, I'm gonna guess what the twist is. Never got it right. There's some in the final book that I got right, and I think by that time my brain was just started to be like trained, like Lee Bardugo. And because most people read it as they came out, and I read it all at once. But yeah, so if you're looking for a great fantasy book series, I would suggest Shadow and Bone. If you've already watched the show, it also just adds to it. Like, now I want to rewatch the show because there's a lot of things from the Six of Crows gang that I didn't pick up because by that time I was only reading like the original trilogy. So it's a lot. There's a lot going on, and if you want a great fantasy book series, I suggest the Grishaverse books. Yay! Sorry, that's a long rant. As Leanne said, I'm very tired.
Yay.
But even though I'm sounding very groggy and not very coherent, Leanne, you're sounding extremely crisp and lovely. So tell us a bit more about why you're sounding so great and perky.
Thanks to our friends at Syntec. They've sent us a fabulous Fifine microphone, condenser microphone. It's so easy to install. It's a little USB port that you plug in. It's got the desk stand. It's got the pop socket. It's got the little... I feel like I'm back in radio because it's got like it swivels and moves and it just looks so amazing. So yeah, it's perfect for gamers, streamers, YouTubers, podcasters, available at Syntec. So thank you, Fifine, and thank you to Syntec for making me sound so fabulous.
But thank you to everyone who listened. Go and watch Young, Famous, and African. And I know there was a Twitter meme, or like someone tweeted, how long are we young in South Africa? And I'm not gonna lie, I did think so, but I think it's more to do with like the young at heart, because Kani and Naked, they're like in their 40s, living lekker, but the drama that they have feels very 20s for me. I'm like, guys, why are you still putting up with this? But anyway, watch Young, Famous, and African on Netflix from the 18th of March. Thank you to Leanne. Thank you, guys. See you next week, where we all have another great conversation. Me, you can find at Caryn Welby on Instagram, at Caryn Welbys with an S on Twitter, and sign up for my newsletter, Wildest Dreams, at wildestdreams.substack.com. The podcast can be found at Crushing on Pod on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can find us at What's IGN Crushing on YouTube, and you can find more information about this and all our other episodes on our website, crushingonpodcast.com. Send any feedback to mail@crushingonpodcast.com, and you can send us voice notes at +27 78 362 2566. Join our Facebook group, Crushing on Club, where we chat about the show, celebrity news, recommendations, the whole shebang. The show is produced by me, Caryn, as well as Rebecca Barches and Leanne Phillipson. The show is edited by Rebecca Barches. Our logo was designed by Nathifa Maroof, and the show was created in partnership with IGN Africa. If you like the show, tell everyone that you can, any way that you can. Keep up to date with episodes by subscribing to the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please rate and review the episodes on Apple Podcasts, as it helps others to find the show. We'll be back next week with another in-depth conversation with a pop culture lover. See you then.